John C. Maxwell's Greatest Leadership Principles Compilation. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It is about one life influencing another. Today, I want to share with you the transformative wisdom of one of the world's most respected leadership experts, John C. Maxwell, through a compilation of his greatest principles that have changed millions of lives across the globe. The foundation: leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Picture this: a young manager named Sarah walks into her office every morning, believing that her title makes her a leader. She has the corner office, the nameplate, and the authority to give orders. Yet, her team lacks enthusiasm, productivity suffers, and turnover is high. Sarah doesn't understand why people don't follow her lead with passion and commitment. Then one day, she discovers John Maxwell's fundamental truth: leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. This revelation hits her like lightning. She realizes that her title doesn't make her a leader, her ability to influence and inspire others does. This is the cornerstone of Maxwell's philosophy. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need permission to influence. What you need is the understanding that leadership is about connecting with people, adding value to their lives, and inspiring them to become better versions of themselves. Think about the people who have influenced you most in your life. Were they all in positions of authority? Probably not. They were teachers, friends, colleagues, family members, people who touched your life through their character, their care, and their commitment to your growth. That's influence. That's leadership. The law of the lid: leadership ability determines effectiveness. Maxwell teaches us that leadership ability is the lid on personal and organizational effectiveness. If your leadership ability is an 8, your effectiveness cannot be higher than an 8. This law explains why some incredibly talented individuals never reach their full potential. Their leadership lid is too low. Consider the story of two brothers who inherited their father's restaurant business. Both were hardworking and dedicated. The first brother was an exceptional cook with incredible technical skills, rating a 9 out of 10 in culinary ability. However, his leadership skills were only at a 4. The second brother was a good cook, rating about a 6, but his leadership abilities were at an 8. Guess what happened? The first brother's restaurant struggled despite the amazing food. Staff turnover was high, customer service was inconsistent, and growth was minimal. The second brother's restaurant flourished. His team was motivated, customers had exceptional experiences, and the business expanded rapidly. The difference wasn't talent or hard work, it was leadership ability. The second brother understood that his success depended not just on his own capabilities, but on his ability to lead and develop others. He raised his lid, and everything underneath rose with it. This principle teaches us that if we want to increase our effectiveness, we must focus on developing our leadership skills. It's not enough to be technically competent. We must learn to influence, inspire, and empower others. The law of process: leadership develops daily, not in a day. One of the most dangerous myths about leadership is that leaders are born, not made. Maxwell destroys this myth with the law of process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. It's a process, not a position. Every day, you have the opportunity to grow as a leader. Every interaction, every decision, every challenge is a chance to develop your leadership capacity. The key is intentionality. You must be deliberate about your leadership development. Think of leadership development like physical fitness. You can't go to the gym once and expect to be in great shape. You can't read one leadership book and expect to become an exceptional leader. It requires consistent, daily discipline. The leaders who make the greatest impact are those who commit to lifelong learning and growth. They read books, attend seminars, seek mentors, and most importantly, they practice what they learn. They understand that becoming a leader is not a destination, it's a journey of continuous improvement. Maxwell himself is a perfect example of this principle. He's written over 100 books, spoken to millions of people, and influenced countless leaders around the world. but he still considers himself a student. Every day, he's learning, growing, and developing his leadership abilities. The law of navigation. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Vision is the essence of leadership. While managers focus on doing things right, leaders focus on doing the right things. They don't just steer the ship, they chart the course. Navigation requires looking ahead, anticipating obstacles, and planning the route to the destination. It means taking responsibility for the direction of the organization, team, or initiative. When you're navigating, you're not just reacting to circumstances, you're proactively creating the future. Great leaders are great navigators. They have the ability to see beyond the present circumstances and envision a better future. They can look at a situation and see possibilities where others see problems. They can chart a course through uncertainty and guide their people to the destination. But navigation isn't just about having vision, it's about communicating that vision effectively. A leader must be able to paint a picture of the future that's so compelling that people are willing to follow, even when the journey gets difficult. Think about the greatest leaders in history. They were all master navigators. They could see beyond the present and inspire others to join them on the journey to a better future. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just dream of equality, he charted a course to achieve it. Steve Jobs didn't just envision personal computers in every home, he navigated Apple to make it happen. The law of addition. Leaders add value by serving others. True leadership is not about being served, it's about serving others. The greatest leaders understand that their role is to add value to the lives of the people they lead. They ask not, "What can my people do for me?" but "What can I do for my people?" This principle transforms everything about how we approach leadership. Instead of using people for our own purposes, we invest in them for their benefit. Instead of taking credit, we give credit. Instead of demanding loyalty, we earn it through service. When you lead by adding value, something magical happens. People don't follow you because they have to, they follow you because they want to. They don't work for the organization, they work with you toward a shared vision. They don't just do their jobs, they give their best because they know you're invested in their success. Maxwell teaches us that there are several ways to add value to others: by believing in them, by listening to them, by knowing them personally, by helping them reach their potential, and by providing opportunities for growth. When you consistently add value to others, you build a foundation of trust and respect that makes true leadership possible. The paradox of leadership is that when you focus on adding value to others, you receive more in return than you could ever give. Your influence grows, your impact expands, and your satisfaction increases. It's a principle that transforms not just organizations, but lives. The law of solid ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership. Without trust, there can be no genuine leadership. Trust is not something you can demand or manufacture, it must be earned through consistent character and competence. Maxwell identifies trust as the foundation upon which all effective leadership is built. Trust is built on three things: character, who you are; relationships, who you know and who knows you; and knowledge, what you know. All three are important, but character is the foundation. People may forgive a leader for lacking knowledge or having limited relationships, but they will not forgive a lack of character. Character-based trust means doing what's right regardless of the consequences. It means keeping your word even when it's costly. It means admitting mistakes and taking responsibility for failures. It means being honest even when the truth is difficult. When you have trust, leadership becomes natural and effortless. People give you the benefit of the doubt. They're willing to follow you into uncertain territory. They support your vision even when they don't fully understand it. They know that you have their best interests at heart. But trust, once broken, is extremely difficult to rebuild. A single act of dishonesty or betrayal can destroy years of relationship building. That's why maintaining trust must be a leader's highest priority. Every decision, every action, every word should be evaluated through the lens of trust. Will this build trust or erode it? The law of respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Respect is not given because of position, it's earned through leadership, ability, and character. People don't follow titles, they follow courage. They don't follow positions, they follow principles. They don't follow procedures, they follow purpose. Maxwell teaches that people naturally follow leaders who are stronger than themselves. This doesn't mean physical strength, it means leadership strength. It's about having the courage to make difficult decisions, the integrity to do what's right, the vision to see beyond the present, and the ability to inspire others to achieve more than they thought possible. Respect is built through consistency. When people see that you consistently make good decisions, handle pressure well, treat others fairly, and deliver on your commitments, they begin to respect your leadership ability. They see you as someone worth following. But respect goes both ways. Great leaders don't just earn respect, they give respect. They value the contributions of others. They listen to different perspectives. They acknowledge the strengths and accomplishments of their team members. They understand that respect is not a zero-sum game. The more you give, the more you receive. When you have respect, people don't just comply with your requests, they embrace your vision. They don't just do what you ask, they do more than what you ask. They don't just work for you, they work with you to achieve something meaningful. The law of intuition. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. Great leaders have developed leadership intuition, the ability to read situations, understand people, and make decisions based on leadership insight. This intuition comes from experience, wisdom, and a deep understanding of human nature. Leadership intuition allows you to see beyond the obvious. You can sense the mood of a room. You can identify potential problems before they become crises. You can recognize opportunities that others miss. You can understand the real issues behind surface problems. This intuition develops over time through experience and intentional learning. The more you lead, the better you become at reading situations and people. The more you study leadership, the more you understand the principles that drive human behavior and organizational dynamics. Maxwell emphasizes that leaders see everything with a leadership bias. When they look at a situation, they automatically think about its leadership implications. When they interact with people, they consider how to influence and develop them. When they face challenges, they think about how to turn them into opportunities for growth and learning. Developing leadership intuition requires being observant, asking questions, and learning from both successes and failures. It means paying attention to patterns and trends. It means listening not just to what people say, but to what they don't say. It means understanding that leadership is as much art as science. The law of magnetism: who you are is who you attract. One of the most fascinating aspects of leadership is that you attract who you are, not who you want. If you want to attract better people to your organization or team, you must become a better leader yourself. Your character, your attitude, your values, and your leadership ability determine the quality of people who are drawn to follow you. This principle has profound implications for leaders. If you're attracting the wrong kind of people, you need to look in the mirror. If your team lacks commitment, examine your own commitment. If your people lack integrity, examine your own integrity. If your organization lacks vision, examine your own vision. But the good news is that when you grow as a leader, you automatically begin attracting better people. When you develop strong character, people of strong character are drawn to you. When you demonstrate excellence, people who value excellence want to be part of your team. When you show passion for your mission, passionate people want to join your cause. This law also explains why organizations often reflect the personality and values of their leaders. The culture, the atmosphere, the standards, all of these flow from the top. As a leader, you are not just responsible for what you do, you're responsible for the kind of people and culture you create around you. The key is to focus on becoming the kind of person you want to attract. Work on your character, develop your skills, clarify your values, and live by high standards. As you do, you'll find that the quality of people around you naturally improves. The law of connection: leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. This is one of Maxwell's most powerful insights about leadership. Before you can lead people effectively, you must connect with them emotionally. You must show them that you genuinely care about them as individuals. Connection happens when people feel valued, understood, and appreciated. It occurs when they sense that you see them as more than just employees or followers. You see them as human beings with hopes, dreams, fears, and aspirations. Connection is built through authentic relationships, not just professional interactions. Great leaders take time to get to know their people personally. They remember names, ask about families, celebrate personal achievements, and show concern during difficult times. They listen more than they talk. They show vulnerability by sharing their own struggles and challenges. They create an environment where people feel safe to be themselves. When you connect with people, everything changes. They become more engaged, more committed, more willing to go the extra mile. They don't just work for the organization, they work for you because they know you care about them. They're not just following orders, they're partnering with you to achieve shared goals. Connection also makes difficult conversations easier. When people know you care about them, they're more receptive to feedback and correction. They understand that your motivation is to help them grow, not to criticize or condemn them. They trust your intentions even when they might not agree with your decisions. The law of the inner circle: a leader's potential is determined by those closest to them. No leader achieves success alone. The people closest to you, your inner circle, will determine your potential as a leader. If you surround yourself with exceptional people, you'll achieve exceptional results. If you surround yourself with mediocre people, your results will be mediocre. Maxwell emphasizes that great leaders are intentional about building their inner circle. They look for people who complement their strengths and compensate for their weaknesses. They seek out individuals who share their values but may have different perspectives and skills. They invest in relationships with people who can challenge them to grow and help them reach their potential. Your inner circle should consist of people who add value to your leadership. They should be individuals of strong character, proven competence, and genuine commitment to the mission. They should be people who will tell you the truth, even when it's difficult to hear. They should be loyal but not afraid to disagree with you when necessary. Building a strong inner circle requires intentionality and investment. You must actively seek out quality people and invest time in building relationships with them. You must be vulnerable enough to let them see your weaknesses and wise enough to benefit from their strengths. You must be secure enough to surround yourself with people who are better than you in certain areas. The leaders who make the greatest impact are those who understand that success is a team sport. They know that their legacy will be determined not just by what they accomplish personally, but by what they accomplish through the people they develop and empower. The law of empowerment: only secure leaders give power to others. Insecure leaders hoard power and information. They're afraid that if they empower others, they'll become unnecessary or lose control. But secure leaders understand that empowering others doesn't diminish their own power, it multiplies it. Empowerment means giving people the authority, resources, and responsibility to make decisions and take action. It means trusting them to do the job without micromanaging every detail. It means providing guidance and support while allowing them the freedom to succeed or fail. When you empower others, several powerful things happen. First, you multiply your influence and impact. Instead of being limited by your own time and abilities, you can accomplish much more through the people you've empowered. Second, you develop other leaders. Empowerment is one of the most effective ways to grow leadership capacity in your organization. Third, you create a more engaging and satisfying work environment. People are more motivated when they have ownership and autonomy. But empowerment requires security on the part of the leader. You must be secure enough in your own identity and abilities to share power with others. You must be confident enough to let others receive credit for successes. You must be mature enough to take responsibility when empowered people make mistakes. Maxwell teaches that empowerment is not abdication. You don't just give people responsibility and walk away. You provide clear expectations, adequate resources, ongoing support, and regular feedback. You create an environment where people can succeed and learn from their mistakes. The law of legacy: a leader's lasting value is measured by succession. The ultimate test of leadership is not what you accomplish during your tenure, it's what continues after you're gone. Great leaders think beyond their own careers to the legacy they're leaving behind. They measure success not just by current results, but by future impact. Legacy minded leaders focus on developing other leaders. They understand that their greatest contribution is not what they do personally, but who they develop to carry on the work. They invest time, energy, and resources in preparing the next generation of leaders. This principle challenges leaders to think differently about their role. Instead of being the star player who carries the team, they become the coach who develops star players. Instead of being indispensable, they make themselves replaceable by developing others who can do what they do, and do it better. Building a legacy requires intentionality and patience. You must identify potential leaders and invest in their development. You must be willing to give them opportunities to lead, even if they might fail. You must be patient with their growth process and committed to their long-term development. The most fulfilling aspect of legacy leadership is watching others succeed and knowing that you played a part in their development. It's seeing organizations continue to thrive long after you've moved on. It's knowing that your influence continues through the people you've developed and the leaders they develop in turn. The law of victory: leaders find a way for the team to win. Great leaders are not just optimistic, they're catalytic. They don't just hope for success, they create the conditions for success. They find a way for their teams to win, even when the odds are stacked against them. Victory-focused leaders have several characteristics. They're determined and persistent. They don't give up when faced with obstacles or setbacks. They're creative problem solvers who can find unconventional solutions to difficult challenges. They're able to inspire others to perform beyond their perceived limitations. But victory in leadership is not just about winning at any cost. It's about winning the right way. It's about achieving success while maintaining integrity and treating people with respect. It's about creating victories that everyone can be proud of. Leaders who live by the law of victory understand that winning is a team effort. They know that their role is not to be the hero, but to create an environment where heroes can emerge. They focus on bringing out the best in others and coordinating individual strengths into collective success. This principle also means taking responsibility when the team doesn't win. Victory-focused leaders don't blame others or make excuses. They analyze what went wrong, learn from the experience, and make adjustments for future success. They understand that leadership means being accountable for results. The transformation: putting it all together. Now, let's return to Sarah, the manager we met at the beginning of this journey. After discovering Maxwell's principles, she embarked on a transformation that would change not only her leadership but the lives of everyone around her. Sarah realized that her influence had been limited not by her title, but by her approach to leadership. She began focusing on adding value to her team members rather than expecting them to add value to her. She started connecting with them on a personal level, learning about their goals, dreams, and challenges. She raised her leadership lid by committing to daily growth. Every morning, she spent time reading, reflecting, and planning how she could become a better leader that day. She sought feedback from her team and was willing to make changes based on what she learned. Sarah built trust by being consistent in her character and competent in her leadership. She kept her promises, admitted her mistakes, and always did what she believed was right, even when it was difficult. Her team began to respect her not because of her position, but because of her person. She empowered her team members by giving them ownership of projects and decisions. Instead of micromanaging, she provided clear expectations and then trusted them to deliver. She celebrated their successes and supported them through their failures. Most importantly, Sarah began thinking about legacy. She identified potential leaders on her team and invested in their development. She gave them opportunities to lead, mentored them through challenges, and prepared them for greater responsibilities. The results were remarkable. Team engagement increased dramatically. Productivity soared. Customer satisfaction improved. Turnover dropped to nearly zero. The department that had once been struggling became the most successful in the company. But the most significant change was in Sarah herself. She discovered that true leadership satisfaction comes not from being served, but from serving others. Not from achieving personal success, but from helping others succeed. Not from being the star, but from developing stars. The call to action, or leadership journey, begins now. As we conclude this compilation of John Maxwell's greatest leadership principles, I want to leave you with this truth. Leadership is not reserved for the few, it's available to anyone willing to grow, serve, and influence others positively. You don't need a title to start leading. You don't need permission to begin adding value to others. You don't need to wait for perfect circumstances to start your leadership journey. You can begin today, right where you are, with the people around you. The principles we've explored are not just theories, they are practical tools that work when applied consistently. They've transformed millions of lives and countless organizations. They can transform yours too. But knowledge without application is useless. Reading about these principles won't make you a leader. You must put them into practice. You must commit to the daily discipline of leadership development. You must be willing to serve others and invest in their success. Your leadership journey starts with a single decision, the decision to influence others positively. From there, it's about daily choices to grow, serve, connect, and add value. It's about building trust through character and competence. It's about developing others and leaving a legacy that lasts beyond your own tenure. The world needs great leaders. It needs people who will stand up for what's right, who will serve others selflessly, who will develop potential in others, and who will leave places better than they found them. You have the potential to be one of those leaders. You have the ability to influence others positively. You have the opportunity to make a difference that lasts. The question is not whether you can lead, it's whether you will choose to lead. The time is now. The place is here. The leader is you. John Maxwell's principles are your roadmap. Your character is your foundation. Your commitment is your fuel. Your service to others is your purpose. Go forth and lead. The world is waiting for what you have